Hey friends, it's Jackeline here. In today's video, I'm bringing you my review, swatches, comparisons, and 2 eye looks using the brand new Charlotte Tilbury luxury palette of pops in dazzling diamonds. But before we get started, and if you're new here, I hope that you will consider and subscribe to my channel, ring that post notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads, and come and follow me on my Instagram. And now, if you want to see all the details about this holiday eyeshadow quad by Charlotte Tilbury, then just keep on watching. I think it's a tradition that is never broken. As soon as we hit September, we start seeing little sneak peeks here and there of the new and upcoming holiday collections. But right when we hit the middle of September, there comes the avalanche. We start like seeing all these different launches for the holidays that is just crazy. And our darling Charlotte Tilbury, she's not the exception. She likes to sprinkle on us a little bit of her magic, and I have already reviewed 2 of her holiday releases. One is the Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize eyeshadow palette. This is such a beauty. This comes with her new formula. I mean, you have to see the review, but this is lovely. And also her Superstar Glow highlighter. I don't know, I think this was a leak from Sephora. They had it available, then they removed it from the website, but it's coming back because this is actually part of Charlotte's holiday releases. So here you go. I'm actually wearing it right now. This gives the most lovely soft focus effect. I mean, it's a beautiful highlighter. If you want to know more about it, I will be linking it up on the cards. I never remember if it's in this side or on this side right here, but I will be leaving it up on the cards or in the description box below, so that way you can go and check out my review on this specific highlighter, which I actually, that day, I don't know, I was like, you know, let me do a bunch of different comparisons. Let's go for it. So if you want a lot of great information, you know where to find it. And I have something right here that she just came out with, and it's part of her holiday collection. Is the luxury palette of pops in dazzling diamonds. And this is just, I don't know, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, you know what, it's really intriguing me. It seems really nice. So it showed up at Charlotte Tilbury's website, and I had to get it. So here it is. Finally, it arrived at my home. It cost me $53. That's the typical price for the luxury palettes, the luxury quads from Charlotte Tilbury, $53. It's also made in Italy. It has a shelf life of 30 months, and it comes with a total of 5.2 grams of product, which is typical just as the rest of her quads. So let me just show you how it looks here. It is so gorgeous. It's just so pretty. I really love all these little jewels on the carton box. Although I usually do not keep carton box, I do have a few. Perhaps I perhaps I will keep it. Okay, so I'm sure you want to see how it looks like on the inside. And by the way, all the makeup that I'm using today, along with all the products that I will be mentioning today, will be on the description box below for your convenience. All the links are there. You know that when you shop through my links, I never push these, but I like to, you know, be very clear. They are, for the most part, affiliate links. They are marked with a little asterisk, but when you shop through those links, you're helping out this channel to grow and all the good stuff. So here we go. This is so lovely. Look at this beautiful, elegant packaging. This is Charlotte Tilbury. This is what I have to say it. This is what I expected for this palette to look like. And I know you're gonna be like, what? I mentioned it on the video, on the review video of this palette, that it actually looks kind of like a galvanized type of metal. Well, these look so pretty. I mean, I wish she could have done something like this with all these little jewels and designs. But anyhow, the review is on this palette. So let me just open it up for you so you can see it. It comes as per usual with a little mirror, and then her typical component right there. This palette comes with 4 different shades. 1 is to prime, 2 to enhance, 3 to smoke, and 4 to refine. So this is really very alike to the same system that she has for her other quads, where you take, for example, this shade is to prime, then this shade will be to enhance. Then she suggests this shade right here to smoke, and usually this shade right here is to pop. But in this particular case, because all of these eyeshadows are pop shadows or celestial shades, she is then suggesting to use this beautiful shade right here as to define your eyelid. So, oh my goodness, honestly, in person is breathtaking. It's just, it looks so beautiful. So then again, this little quad right here is pop shade. So if you're not familiar with what are pop shades for Charlotte Tilbury and what are celestial shades, they are basically kind of like very refined. It's kind of like micro, tiny little specks of glitter, but it's not like you have like, you know, you don't look like a disco ball. They are very refined. They are just made in a way that actually your eyelids, they kind of look like wet, and they don't look like you have necessarily glitter on top of them. They are just so beautiful. I do have from the holiday of 2019 this quad right here, and this was also a luxury palette of pops in Celestial Eyes, and this was the first one of its kind. So I want to show you to use side by side really quick, because we will go over details, comparisons of this quad in a little with other palettes to see if there are any repeats. Now this is very hard with Charlotte Tilbury to see if she has any repeats on her palettes, because she doesn't have names or like a color code, like an actual number code per eyeshadow. It's basically, okay, whatever you're getting on this palette, and that's the palette. I'm sure she obviously has it on her laboratories and all of that, but she doesn't let us know about it. So that's the hard part about it. Now you're gonna be like, so what's the difference between a celestial shade and say something like this? These right here, they don't come with any celestial shades, any pop shade. This is basically her matte shades and satin metallic eyeshadows. Beautiful formula, but you don't get that pop that Charlotte Tilbury is known for. Okay, my friends, let's stop talking and let's go into swatches. Look at that blue right there. Now that's blue. That's kind of like it doesn't have, I mean, like, I'm looking at it in different ways. It doesn't really have like a green undertone, because I know a lot of people are a little bit like if is this really a blue? It is a blue. It is a blue. It's kind of like the dark peacock blue, you know, like the male peacock, how it's like super dark, that blue shade, that's the shade. This just looks stunning. Okay, my friends, so let's go ahead, let me get you closer, and let's start with an eyeshadow look. Sigma E25 brush and the prime shade. Now I'm using this shade completely dry and just sparsing it all over my eyelid. Then I'm going to this taupey gold shade, and I'm applying this shade all over my mobile lid using a Sonia G Builder Pro brush, Smith 253 brush, and I'm gonna go to this, it's kind of like an antique gold with some taupe in it, and I'm just gonna smoke this look. Sonia G Flat Definer, and we're gonna go to this blue shade, and I'm gonna apply it very close to my lash line. Okay, I'm putting just a little bit of fallout with this shade. Minimal though. Now when you apply this shade right here, and as C mixes in with any of these shades right here, because these have like I mean, they are taupey shades, but you can see right here how this shade right here has some kind of like green hue. Then this shade right here, it starts appearing as it is blue with a hint of green. But in the pan and on the swatch, as you can tell right here, it's completely blue. Now for this eyelid, let's do something different. I'm dipping in with a Smith 253 brush, and I'm just gonna take it directly on my mobile lid. I just want you guys to see how this blue shade looks on the eyelid. It doesn't have a strong blue base. Okay, I'm gonna apply it with my finger because that's the way I feel it will look the best. Sonia G BLVD Pro, and I'm gonna go to this shade, and I'm just gonna apply it above the crease. Now for my lower lash line, I'm gonna go to this shade. Refer 03 brush. Now I'm applying the lightest shade on my inner corner and on my brow bone. And I'm doing the same thing on this side here. Sonia G Flat Definer. And I'm taking this shade and applying it on my lower lash line. Going into comparisons right now, this is the newest palette from Charlotte Tilbury. It's being sold right now at Sephora. Also Charlotte Tilbury's website, everything will be on the description box below. There's really nothing to compare right here because again, on this palette, you don't receive any of her Celestial or Pop shades. Now, if you have this palette right here, you will be like, wait a second, do I really need to get this other palette? So this was the palette from 2019. And as you can tell, there's really nothing very alike to it because even this shade right here, if you see it on different sides, it has a little bit of pink and reddish undertones to it. Same thing with this shade right here. But just in case you're not convinced about what I'm telling you, let's do something, okay? I'm just gonna do this shade right here and this shade right here. And then right in the middle, I will do this gold one. And then I will do this one right here. So you can tell right there, the one from last year has a lot more rose in it, while this one right here is more on the antique gold, taupey kind of tones. Just swatch them. Going into some blue shades, the Icon palette. This palette comes back and forth into Charlotte Tilbury's website, so you have kind of to pay attention. To me, this is one of her best palettes in the sense of not only the formula, but easy of use and variety too. So we have this blue right here against this blue over here. So I'm gonna go top with the blue from the new palette. Now be very careful when you're swatching the new palette because it's very softly pressed. I also have right here her quad in super blue, and she came out with this palette this year, and her pop shade is this one right here. Definitely this one right here from the new palette is a lot deeper. This was from 2019 collection, and we see these kind of like blue tones right here. Definitely there's nothing right there to compare. I just want to bring it to your attention, and then let's just swatch. Different tones of blue for sure. Now when you see this eyeshadow right here in the pan, it looks like if it has a little bit of kind of like a very light blush pink in it, but how it translates on the eyelids is kind of like a frosted icy blush tone. Gorgeous tone. That being said, let's go ahead and swatch it, and let's compare it with the iconic Pillow Talk. And then right here, I do have Walk of No Shame. And here you're going to be able to really appreciate how icy this shade it is. Even when in the pan looks like it has some kind of like pink in it. I mean, it's a lovely tone, but it's just very different from other eyeshadows from Charlotte Tilbury. And just for the fun of it, let's compare it to this new Jewel Pot. And this one is in the shade Pillow Talk, which is, she only has two. Pillow Talk, which I did separate reviews for Pillow Talk and also for Walk of No Shame. But this is the lightest of the two. And this, I mean, this has pink in it, definitely. And to me, this Jewel Pot is basically the cream moussey version of a Celestial Pop shade from Charlotte Tilbury. I mean, divine. Okay, now let's go with this shade and let's compare with the Dolce Vita. I think now it's called La Bella Sofia or Bella Sofia, I think. And I mean, these two are kind of close. Where am I gonna put it? Good question. Okay, I have space right here and right here. Definitely this has a little bit more warmth to it than this right here. And now I want to compare it to what I think is my favorite quad from Charlotte Tilbury. Don't know. Should I do kind of like a ranking of all my Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palettes? You have to tell me. Anyhow, okay, let's go to this one right here. This is Exaggerate. Oh, I love this palette right here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go with the new palette and just swatch this one, and then with my ring finger this other shade, and then right here with my middle finger I'm gonna go to this shade from Exaggerate. Exaggerate is more of like a cooler tone. Okay, where I'm gonna swatch it, I forgot. Okay, so let's go right here. What about that? I know this is weird to swatch right here, but the one from Exaggerate is not only cooler, but it even has a little bit of pink in it. And there you go. There are all the comparisons right here with what I think, I mean, from my entire collection, what I thought that it was like the closest shades from each palette to this new one. Alrighty, my friends, so done with my two looks, comparisons, swatches, and all the information that you needed to know. To my final thoughts. To begin with, I mean, if you have never tried Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow quads or palettes in general, I don't think this should be your first palette, unless you're dying to get this blue shade right here. That's another story right there. But why I'm saying that is because this quad right here, as I mentioned it from the beginning, this is a palette that consists in her celestial shades, her pop shades. So for example, this palette, the way that I use it today is the way that perhaps I will use it for a New Year's Eve, for a holiday party, like an evening party, you know, like something a little bit more like, shouldn't say extravagant, but a little bit more like nighttime. Does it make sense? Because these pop shades right here are glitter shade, finely meal. Like, I mean, they are the finest glitter that in fact they don't lose that beautiful glistening to them, and in fact they give you this wet look to your eyes. I mean, they really take your eyes to another level. Now, as you were able to tell from my application, I do have a lot of folds on my eyelids, and I am on my 4th floor. I'm 40 years old, so I do have signs of aging, but I'm not afraid of these type of shades. I don't like chunky glitters at all, but I think what it makes really special, the line of Charlotte Tilbury in general, one of her most looked after products are her pop eyeshadows, because again, they don't age you anymore. They don't emphasize those fine lines, those, you know, they just don't emphasize those folds as a regular glitter type of formula will do. So I think that's what is special. This is definitely a complementary palette. It's not a palette, I mean, you can use it alone as I did today, but like I said, it's for, you know, a very special occasion. You're not gonna walk to do your grocery shopping with these unless you feel like doing so, you know, that's your own deal right there. But what I'm saying is, like, it would just give you that as very special look. And as far as how it compares to another eyeshadow quads and palettes from Charlotte Tilbury, as you were able to tell by my comparisons, it's really hard to tell, you know, like when she's repeating a shade, but I think she's not really repeating something. She's giving you something alike to other things, but not really repeating. I mean, you can get obviously kind of like the same look you were talking about with these shades right here. Those are kind of like, easier to find within her collection. But this shade right here, I think is pretty unique and pretty beautiful too. Charlotte Tilbury to me is a sophisticated brand. It's just for that everyday woman that is a businesswoman, but also perhaps you have, you know, like a gathering, maybe a business gathering in the evening. If you don't know, I do plan events, I do cater events. I know this year has been weird, but that's, you know, like I go to a lot of those events. Also during the holiday season, we celebrate, like for example, the end of like the wedding season, and we throw big parties, all the professional vendors, and we are all there, you know, having a party time, obviously. And that's where I could use something like this, or like I said, just to complement and just put it like perhaps this shade right in the middle of the center. If you have everything like an eyeshadow look that is completely matte, you can just use a little bit of that on the center. Same thing with these or that. I mean, you don't have to go all red with like I did today. For me, the two demonstrations that I did today is actually just to demonstrate how they look on the eyelids if you were just going to rely on this palette right here. Packaging is lovely. I just wish you would have done the same thing with this palette right here. I think this is super elegant, super just so beautiful. And there's so many other things coming from Charlotte Tilbury. She has a beautiful advent calendar. She has also this little mini palette that is all matte shades. I think perhaps that will complement really well this one too. I mean, there's so much coming from Charlotte Tilbury, different lipsticks and whatnot. So I would love to know from you, what are the items that you are interested from Charlotte Tilbury Holiday 2020 collection. We have seen a lot. If you haven't watched my latest Will I Buy It video, I went over all her upcoming releases, and believe me, there's gonna be much more. she will not stop, okay? Let me just tell you that. But anyhow, my friends, I would love to read your comments and while you're at it, and if you haven't done so yet, I hope that you will consider and subscribe to my channel. Do not forget to ring that post notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. Here I upload frequently, and I would love for you to become part of my family and come and follow me on my Instagram. I will again love to grow my family there, and I greatly appreciate all the support or your likes or all your comments when you share my videos, when you share my posts. I love you so much for doing that, and I'm just so beyond grateful, because if it wasn't from you, obviously I will not be growing my channel. So I'm so grateful once again to you. If you like this video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. Also share with family and friends, and until the next time, I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye bye.